Jace, a young man of 28, had battled sleepless nights for most of his life. His torment began 18 years ago when he witnessed the tragic death of his parents. That single night of horror branded his mind with scars he could never erase. Since then, his dreams had become cruel playgrounds where memories of the accident replayed with haunting precision. Flashes of blood, broken glass, and lifeless bodies. That night was no different. Jace tossed restlessly, sweat soaking his sheets. His lips trembled as words slipped out in fragments of sorrow. "Mom, Dad," he whispered through tears, reaching weakly for the empty space beside him. 18 years earlier, Jace was just 10 years old, riding in the back seat of his father's car. His late mother, Mrs. Edwards, a respected doctor, sat in the passenger seat while his father, Mr. Edwards, a prominent lawyer, drove them home after a church program. Their laughter filled the car, vibrant and pure, a melody that warmed the boy's heart. But the happiness shattered in a blink. An oncoming truck swerved violently, crashing into their vehicle with merciless force. Glass shattered, metal twisted. Within moments, the car was a grave. Jace, pinned in the back seat, stared at his parents lying lifeless in a pool of blood. His body screamed in pain, yet his voice could only produce faint murmurs as he struggled to call their names. From that night on, this scene became the centerpiece of his nightmares and subconscious, replaying endlessly like a cruel curse. Jace jerked awake, panting heavily, drenched in sweat. He scrambled to the drawer by his bed, pulling out a bottle of anxiety pills. Pouring several into his palm, he swallowed them hastily and washed them down with water. His eyes flickered toward his phone on the nightstand. It was only 3:12 a.m. He sighed in defeat, preparing to set it down when his phone buzzed with an incoming call. Bella. Bella was the only daughter of Chief Stanley Adeyemi, the man who had raised Jace since the death of his parents. To the world, Stanley was a powerful and influential businessman. In truth, he was a ruthless drug lord, the silent hand behind many political deals. For corrupt politicians, he was their vault and fixer, laundering money, silencing enemies, and protecting secrets too dangerous to expose. "Hello, Bella," Jace said, answering the call. "Hi, Jace." Bella's voice rang with excitement. "It's past 3 a.m., Bella. Why are you awake?" Jace asked, rubbing his temple. "Just wanted to check if you were sleeping soundly," she replied sweetly. "I wish I was," he muttered with a weary sigh. "Nightmares again?" she asked, her tone filled with worry. "Yes, they haunt me every time I close my eyes," Jace admitted. "It's okay, Jace. One day you'll overcome this, you'll find peace." "When, Bella? I'm tired of this torment, afraid to even sleep." "I don't know why I must live in this hell," he lamented bitterly. "Don't be so hard on yourself. Maybe your parents want something from you, something unfinished." "And what could that be?" he asked, confused. "You'll have to find that out yourself," she whispered. Later that morning, unable to bear the burden, Jace visited a spiritualist. He was told to wash his hands in water contained in a gourd wrapped in red cloth. After he finished, the spiritualist stared into the water and shook his head grimly. "The souls of your parents seek revenge," the man declared. "Revenge? What do you mean?" Jace asked, alarmed. "The accident was no accident. It was murder. The plan was to wipe out your family, but you miraculously survived," the spiritualist explained. Jace's eyes widened in shock. "What? Murder? Who did this?" "I cannot tell you. When the time is right, you will know the truth," the spiritualist said firmly. "When is the right time?" Jace pressed. "When the rules change. A woman will alter the course of your life, and only then will you uncover the truth." Jace left, deeply unsettled. As he drove lost in thought, traffic forced him to halt. A woman on a motorcycle pulled up beside his car. Their eyes met briefly before she rolled her eyes and sped off. Jace shook his head and dismissed the encounter, but the words of the spiritualist echoed in his mind. Chief Stanley's office. "Good morning, boss," Jace greeted. "You're late," Stanley replied coldly. "My apologies, sir," Jace said with his head bowed. "You'll monitor tonight's delivery. High-profile clients are involved. Be careful. If you get caught, take all the blame. And..." Stanley handed him a brown envelope. "The minister's daughter arrives in 2 days. She's her father's weakness. Everything about her is in this file. Seduce her, win her heart, use her." Jace accepted the envelope with a forced smile. "Consider it done, sir." As he left, he ran into Bella, who embraced him warmly. "You smell different." "New perfume?" she teased. "Bella, not again," Jace said, shielding the envelope against his chest. "Speaking of seers," he added, "I visited one today." "What did he say?" Bella asked. "That my parents were murdered, and now their souls want revenge." Bella gasped. "What?" "Jace, I'm so sorry." She hugged him again as his eyes glistened with unshed tears. That evening, to clear his head, Jace visited an amusement park. Watching children laugh with their parents pulled at his heart, reminding him of the joyful days he once shared with his own. Later that night, Jace carried out the drug distribution. Everything went smoothly until his last client turned out to be an undercover policeman. A struggle ensued, and Jace had no choice but to shoot the officer. Panicked, he fled the scene, only to bump into a young woman who saw his face. Their eyes locked for a fleeting moment before he escaped into the darkness. The next morning, Stanley summoned Jace. "What were you thinking, shooting a cop?" Stanley roared, slapping him. "I had no choice," Jace replied, head bowed. "Did anyone see you?" "No." Jace hesitated, remembering the woman he bumped into. "Except one lady." Stanley's eyes narrowed. "Idiot. Stay low. I'll handle this. Check your email for a list of women in the area. Find her." At home, Jace opened the email and scrolled through photos until he stopped. His heart skipped a beat. It was her. "She's Amara Adesola, age 25, he reported to Stanley. "Good. Use your charm to win her. If she knows anything, find out. If she recognizes you, silence her forever," Stanley ordered. As Jace hung up, he stared at her picture. Recognition struck. Amara was the same woman who had rolled her eyes at him in traffic days earlier. "What a coincidence," Jace murmured, his pulse quickening. Amara Adesola, 25, was a vibrant young woman full of life. A nurse who also ran her late father's pharmacy, she lived with her grandmother after losing both parents. Following the death of the police officer shot by Jace, shops in the area were closed pending police investigations. Hearing this, Jace decided to trace Amara to her home. On arrival, he found her absent. Her grandmother informed him she had gone to the hospital where she worked. At the hospital, Jace asked around and was directed to where Nurse Amara was attending to elderly patients. He stood quietly, watching her cheerful interactions. He noticed how much the elderly loved her. Suddenly, Amara turned and their eyes met. Startled, Jace quickly looked away, his heartbeat racing. Moments later, he turned again, only to find Amara already beside him, arms crossed. "Holy Moses!" Jace exclaimed, clutching his chest. "Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Why does your face look familiar? Have we met before?" Amara asked, studying him closely. Jace's hand moved toward the gun in his back pocket. "Do you know me?" he asked tensely. "I think I've seen this face somewhere," she mused, rubbing her chin. After a pause, she said, "Aren't you the guy I saw in traffic the other day? The one who was eyeing me from his car?" Relieved, Jace sighed. "Thank God she doesn't recognize me from the crime scene," he thought. "Did you just say I eyed you?" Jace asked, shocked. "Yes, you kept staring like a pervert," Amara retorted. "What? You rolled your eyes at me for no reason," Jace countered. "So now you're calling me a troublemaker?" She pressed, stepping closer. "Well, you act like one," Jace replied. "What's your name again?" Amara demanded. "Jace. Why?" "So I can file a police report if my suspicions are right," she said, writing his name on her file. "What suspicion?" Jace asked, confused. "That you're a womanizer," she answered sternly. Frustrated, Jace tried to defend himself, but when he accidentally mentioned her name, Amara grew furious. "So you stalk me too?" she shouted. Jace hurriedly denied it, but Amara threatened, "Eyes on you. I'll report you." Shaken, Jace left the hospital and immediately called Stanley. "Boss, I met Amara. She doesn't recognize me," Jace reported. "Are you certain?" Stanley pressed. "Yes, she's just loud and talkative." "Don't be fooled. Spend the day monitoring her. If she acts suspicious, silence her," Stanley ordered. "Yes, boss," Jace replied reluctantly. Jace waited in his car until Amara finished her shift. When he saw her walking out of the hospital, he quickly stepped out and approached her. "Hello, Amara," he said, waving as he stood beside her. Startled, Amara clutched her chest. "What are you still doing here?" she asked, shocked to see him. "I couldn't leave without knowing you better, at least to satisfy my curiosity," Jace lied smoothly. Amara narrowed her eyes. "What silly curiosity is that? Don't forget what I told you earlier. One suspicious move and I won't hesitate to call the police." "When did it become a crime for a young single man like me to express interest in a lady who has inspired my imagination?" Jace asked, stepping closer. Amara didn't budge. Her fearless stare surprised him. "You must think I was joking when I warned you," she said, pulling out her phone. Before she could dial, Jace snatched the phone and slipped it into his back pocket. "What do you think you're doing?" Amara demanded. "Making sure you don't call the police. I haven't done anything wrong. Give me my phone," she insisted, holding out her hand, her other hand on her waist. "I'll return it on one condition," Jace said. "And what's that?" she asked, crossing her arms. "That you allow me to drive you home?" Amara scoffed. "So this is your clever way of kidnapping me? Sorry to disappoint you, Jace. I'm smarter than you think." She clicked her tongue, frustrating him further. "If I wanted to kidnap you, I'd have done it already. Besides, I've already met your grandmother," Jace said casually. Amara froze. Shock filled her eyes before she slapped him across the face. "Stalker. If anything happens to my grandmother, I swear you'll regret it." She grabbed her phone from his pocket and stormed off. Jace rubbed his cheek, stunned. "This girl is trouble," he muttered. He watched her stop a cab and leave, still feeling the sting of her slap. Moments later, he thought deeply, what if she's pretending not to recognize me? What if she's hiding the truth? Determined to find out, he jumped into his car and sped toward her home. At Amara's compound, she had just stepped out of the cab when she saw her grandmother sitting on the ground, weeping, their belongings scattered across the yard. Alarmed, Amara rushed to her side. "Grandma, what's going on? Why are our things outside? Why are you crying?" she asked in tears. "The loan shark came to collect his money," her grandmother sobbed. Speechless, Amara turned to the men throwing their belongings out. The lender, Baba Tunde, was notorious for charging exorbitant interest and using threats to collect debts. He had grown impatient with Amara, who had rejected his advances and came earlier than agreed to humiliate her. Amara ran to him, falling to her knees. She clutched his leg and pleaded, "Please give us more time. I'll pay you back." Tears streamed down her cheeks. Baba Tunde kicked her hands away and barked at his boys to continue hauling things out. At that moment, Jace walked in. Seeing the scene, his blood boiled. He hurried to Amara's grandmother, gently lifting her and seating her on a wooden bench. Amara noticed him but lowered her head in shame, unable to confront him for showing up uninvited. Jace turned to Baba Tunde, fury in his eyes. He grabbed his collar. "Why would you hurt defenseless women? What's their crime?" Baba Tunde looked confused. "Young man, what's your problem?" "Same thing I should ask you. What's your problem with them?" Jace shouted, his anger rising. "Who are you? The old woman's hidden son? Or her granddaughter's secret lover?" Baba Tunde asked, baffled. "Unfortunately for you, I'm the man who's about to give you the worst beating of your life," Jace growled, glaring into his eyes. Baba Tunde, thinking Jace was bluffing, burst into laughter. The next moment, he found himself on the ground as Jace's punch landed squarely on his mouth. Dazed, he touched his lips and stared at the blood on his hand in disbelief. Amara and her grandmother gasped, hardly believing what they had just seen. Before Baba Tunde could recover, Jace yanked him up by the collar. His boys rushed forward, but Jace released Baba Tunde and stretched his arms. Then, with swift precision, he charged at them. One after the other, he dealt them crushing blows, making sure none escaped without injury. During the scuffle, one of the boys struck Jace across the forehead with a pole, leaving a bleeding scratch. Enraged, Jace turned on the attacker, beating him until his face was swollen. He then tossed him aside and continued until all of them lay groaning on the ground. Breathing heavily, Jace returned to Baba Tunde, who was still stunned. He squatted before him and slapped his cheek repeatedly until it turned red. Tired of crouching, Jace pulled one of the boys forward, bent him down and sat on his back like a chair. "So tell me, what exactly is the problem here?" Jace asked coldly. "These women came to me for money, which I gave them," Baba Tunde stammered. "When the time came to repay, they brought excuses. I had no choice but to act." "Oh, I see. And was throwing an old woman out of her home part of doing what was necessary?" Jace shot back. "She was in the way," Baba Tunde muttered. "Just like you and your boys got in my way. At least now we're even. You humiliated them, and I humiliated you. So, how much are we talking about?" Jace asked. 150,000 plus interest, Baba Tunde said nervously. "Only?" Jace asked, surprised. Yes, came the reply. Fine, give me your account details, Jace said, pulling out his phone. Moments later, he transferred 180,000. You sent more than required, Babatunde said, staring at his phone. Yes, the extra is for treatment, use it well. But if I ever see you near this house again, I'll bury you, Jace warned. Yes, I understand, Babatunde said quickly. Good. Now who will pack these things back inside? Jace asked, pointing to the scattered belongings. Babatunde and his injured boys limped around, carrying everything back inside under Amara's instructions. When finished, they fled without another word. Amara turned to Jace. You've done enough by hitting them. You didn't need to pay our debts. I didn't do it for you. I did it for your grandmother, Jace replied firmly. He went to the old woman who still sat on the bench. She held his hand gratefully. Thank you, my son. Seeing you reminds me of my late boy. Now I know the value of having a son and a family. If my son had lived, Babatunde would never have dared to humiliate us. You don't have to think like that, Mama. Your granddaughter Amara is a tigress herself, Jace said, glancing at Amara, who rolled her eyes. You can't blame her. She grew up without a father or brother. We've been fighting for ourselves since she lost her parents 18 years ago, her grandmother explained. What a coincidence. I also lost both my parents 18 years ago, Jace revealed softly. Tears filled the woman's eyes as she embraced him. Don't worry, my son. From now on, my house is open to you. She soon noticed the gash on his forehead and insisted Amara bandage it. Reluctantly, Jace sat as Amara fetched her first aid kit. Don't forget your glasses. It's dark, her grandmother called after her. Glasses? Jace asked curiously. Yes, Amara can't see clearly at night. I once borrowed money from Babatunde for her eye surgery, but I became sick and used it to save my life. She met the man suspected of killing the cop that night, but without her glasses, she couldn't recognize his face. The revelation shook Jace. So she never truly saw me that night, he thought. When Amara finished dressing his wound, Jace thanked her and left despite her grandmother's invitation for dinner. On the drive home, he saw her differently. Not as stubborn, but as someone masking pain with strength. At home, he received a call from Bella. Dad said to remind you of the family dinner tomorrow, she said. I won't keep him waiting, Jace replied. The next evening, at Stanley's mansion, Jace sat with him and Bella for dinner. Noticing the plaster on Jace's forehead, Stanley asked, What happened? I got into a fight with loan sharks, Jace said casually. Loan sharks? Since when are you broke? Stanley asked sharply. It wasn't for me. It was Amara, the girl you told me to watch. Since when do you fight other people's battles? You're ruining your face, your greatest asset. How will you seduce the minister's daughter with a scar? Stanley snapped. Jace pushed his plate aside. Chief, accidents happen. Not everything is business. Don't play smart with me, you've been sloppy. What's wrong with you? Stanley shouted. Jace stood abruptly. I thought this was family dinner, but I forgot. I'm not family. Enraged, Stanley slapped him. Ungrateful boy, is that how you speak to your father? What father? A father who won't claim me in public? If you were truly my father, things would be different. Thanks for the food, Jace stormed out. Stanley fumed. Bella stood. Dad, you were wrong. Instead of caring, you attacked him. Do you even know tomorrow marks his parents' death anniversary? You've lived with him 18 years. You should know better. She too walked out, leaving Stanley stunned. Meanwhile, Jace drove aimlessly until he parked in a deserted spot. Alone in the dark, he broke down, crying bitterly. Jace returned home to find Bella waiting in the living room. Where have you been? She asked, rising quickly. I've been here waiting for you for hours. I was driving aimlessly to cool my head, Jace replied with a weak smile. Bella walked closer, her eyes softening. I'm sorry for everything my dad said to you today. Please forget it. Don't let his words or actions get to you, okay? She gently caressed his cheek. Jace held her hand and sighed. What would I do without you? Thank you, Bella, for always being there. It's okay, Jace. I'll always share your pain. Now, she said, gripping both his hands. How about you shower while I prepare your favorite meal? Something to cheer you up, Jace chuckled. I thought I'd lost my appetite, but hearing about my favorite meal has somehow restored it. They laughed together. Later after dinner, Jace was surprised Bella hadn't left. Madam Bella, when are you going home? I hope it's not what I'm thinking, he teased. Whatever. I'm spending the night and there's nothing you can do about it, she said, sticking out her tongue. You've started again, Jace laughed, pointing at her. Every year, Bella spent the night before his parents' death anniversary with him. His nightmares worsened around that time, and she wanted to be there. That night, as expected, he woke panting from a nightmare and calmed himself with his anxiety pills. The next morning, They went together to visit the graves of Mr. and Mrs. Edwards. Jace placed flowers and spoke softly, but soon broke down in tears. Bella rubbed his back to comfort him. Elsewhere, Amara and her grandmother also marked the anniversary of her parents' death. After their rituals, her grandmother's thoughts turned to Jace. "What about that young man from the other day?" she asked. "Which young man?" Amara asked. "The one who fought Baba Tunde and his men. What's his name again?" "You mean Jace?" "Yes, that's it. Such a pity. He lost his parents 18 years ago, just like you." Amara was shocked. She had thought Jace was a spoiled rich boy trying to impress her. "Don't you have his number?" her grandmother pressed. "No, Mama. Why bother about him? He could be a thug. The way he fought Baba Tunde's men, suspicious if you ask me. That's why you're still single," her grandmother retorted. "Mama, what does that have to do with this? You judge too quickly. Can't you see he likes you? Why else would he come looking for you in the morning before returning later to fight for us?" "He came here?" Amara asked, surprised. "Yes, I directed him to your workplace. Didn't you see him there?" "I did. He waited till I finished work. But his approach was strange, so I slapped him. I suppose that's why he stayed away afterward," Amara said proudly. Her grandmother was appalled. "You did what? Are you crazy? Did I raise you to be a soldier?" At the orphanage later, Amara arrived with donations. As she unloaded with the porter's help, she froze. Jace was coming out of the building. "What is this? Am I hallucinating?" she muttered. Jace too was shocked. "What are you doing here? You followed me, didn't you? This is obsession. You're stalking me," she accused. "I beg your pardon? I was here before you. Please, Amara, not today. Pretend you didn't see me," Jace said wearily, walking away to fetch items from his car. Outside, Bella called. "Hello, dear," Jace said. "Sorry I couldn't join you at the orphanage. I'll make it up to you," Bella said. "It's fine. You've done enough for me today. I'll do this with you in mind," Jace answered warmly. Back inside, Amara was stunned as she watched him. The children ran to him joyfully, calling him Uncle Jace. The sisters greeted him warmly, and the gifts he brought far exceeded hers. Curious, she asked a staff member about him and learned the truth. Every year, Jace marked his parents' death anniversary with the children. Her perception shifted instantly. Ashamed, she approached him. "Hey," she said. "Hey, I hope you're not here to start a fight," Jace sighed. "No, Jace. I came to apologize. I was wrong about you." "It's fine. I understand why you're defensive. Life does that," Jace replied gently. Relieved, Amara smiled. "My grandmother misses you. She keeps asking after you. Come by sometime." "What about you?" Jace asked suddenly. "What about me?" she said, confused. "Don't you miss me?" he asked, grinning. "Ha, you won't get those words from me," she teased, and they laughed. After a pause, she added, "I'm sorry for your loss. I heard everything." "Thank you. What about you? What brings you here?" "The same reason as you," she whispered, holding back tears. Jace froze. "You're here to mourn your parents too?" "Yes. 18 years ago, on this exact date." Jace stared at her in disbelief. What a coincidence. It's strange how she always has something in common with me. Is this coincidence or a warning? Jace wondered as he studied Amara's face. "How did your parents die?" he asked, unable to hide his curiosity. Amara sighed. "My father was a well-known doctor. He worked at the hospital by day and ran his pharmacy at night. When he was on night shift, my mother and I handled the pharmacy. We've refused to sell the store because it's all I have left of them. I became a nurse so I could keep it going. Being there feels like they're still with me." My mother was a fearless journalist. She wrote against corrupt politicians and was known as the truth must prevail journalist. I was 7 when I lost them both in a car accident. We'd been at my grandfather's funeral in the village. I begged to stay a few more days with Grandma. They drove back without me and never made it home. "I'm so sorry," Jace said softly. "It's okay. I'm learning to live with it. What about you? How did your parents die?" "I was in the car," Jace replied. "We were returning from our weekly church activity when a truck swerved into us. Everything happened fast. The last thing I saw before blacking out was Mr. and Mrs. Edwards lying in a pool of blood. Since then, the scene keeps repeating in my dreams." "I'm sorry for your loss," Amara said, remorseful. "We'll overcome someday," Jace said gently. "Let me drive you home." "That's too much. It's nothing. Unless you still fear I'll kidnap you," he teased. "Not at all," she said, waving it off. They rode together to Amara's house. Jace greeted her grandmother, who beamed at the sight of him. Conversation flowed easily. Amara noticed how comfortable her grandmother felt around Jace, as if he were a stand-in for her late son. From that day, Jace visited often. On rough days, he ended up at their compound. A few minutes with Grandma soothed him. Amara's guard slowly lowered. They exchanged numbers, traded midnight calls and early morning texts, and a quiet peace took root in Jace whenever he was with them. But his life didn't stop. Under Stanley's shadow, Jace still ran cons on rich men's daughters. He eventually targeted the minister's daughter. He staged a fake robbery on a day she had minimal security. After his men killed her escorts, he appeared, fought them off, and saved her. She hired him as a personal protector. Soon he slipped into her bed, and she became obsessed with him. Meanwhile, he continued supervising illegal drug deliveries. Yet the difference now was the lightness he felt, knowing Amara and her grandmother were in his world. One weekend, Amara's grandmother finished cooking a local delicacy and insisted Amara deliver some to their new son. Amara changed into her best outfit, applied her makeup carefully, and set off for Jace's home with a food flask. He had given her the address for emergencies. The doorbell rang while Jace watched a soccer match, expecting Bella, his only regular visitor. He opened the door and froze. "Hey," Amara said, smiling. "Hey," Jace echoed, stunned. He stared, taking in her transformed look until she shifted awkwardly. "May I come in?" "Yeah, sure." He stepped aside. "Welcome. Please make yourself comfortable." "I didn't plan to come so soon," she said, handing him the bag. "Grandma insisted I bring this." Jace opened the flask, inhaled. "Smells like my mom's cooking," he murmured, then carried it to the kitchen. When he returned, he blurted, "You look different today." "Do I look weird?" "Not at all. You look great. Honestly, I didn't know you were this beautiful." "Jace, please," she said shyly. "Truth," he replied with a small grin. "What can I offer you? Any cold soft drink?" He brought a chilled bottle and a glass, then switched the TV from football to a movie channel to make her comfortable. Unfortunately, an adult scene flashed on screen. Both squirmed. He cleared his throat and changed the channel, but the moment lingered. Amara, suddenly warm, lifted the bottle to pour more. "Empty. I'll replace it," Jace said, reaching out. Their fingers touched, their eyes locked. He leaned in. She closed her eyes. The door swung open. Bella stepped in without knocking. Amara shot to her feet, mumbling a goodbye, and hurried out. "Who is she? And why were you trying to kiss her?" Bella asked, closing the door. "She's Amara, a new friend," Jace said. "The same girl who lives with her grandmother?" "Yes, isn't she beautiful?" he asked, unable to hide his smile. "She is. But why so excited? Do you have feelings for her?" "Do you want the truth?" he asked, sitting beside her. "Nothing but. I think I'm developing real feelings," he admitted. "You're joking," Bella said, sitting upright. "No, there's something special about her. I want a meaningful relationship." "Does she know what you do for a living?" "Not yet, and I won't tell her. It's the only way to protect her. You know the rule. Any third party who learns our secret must be eliminated." "I'm glad you remember the rules," Bella said quietly. "And you also know falling in love is against them." "Then I'll change the rules for Amara's sake," Jace said. "A man made them. A man can change them." Bella said nothing aloud, but her resolve hardened. She would not let him throw his life away for love. The bond between Jace and Amara grew stronger with time. One day, Jace decided to take her to an ophthalmologist. Hearing this, Amara's grandmother was overwhelmed with joy. She thanked Jace repeatedly, tears streaming down her cheeks, and wished Amara's parents were alive to witness the man who had come into their daughter's life. At the hospital, the ophthalmologist examined Amara carefully. "Based on the results, she needs cataract surgery," the doctor said. "Yes, I was told that years ago," Amara replied quietly, "but I couldn't raise the money." "It's not too late," the doctor reassured. "After the operation, her night blindness will be gone." "Doctor, please," Jace asked curiously, "what exactly is cataract surgery?" "It's a procedure to replace the cloudy lens in the eye with an artificial one. It has a high success rate in restoring vision," the doctor explained. "Will she feel pain?" Jace asked. "No. Patients are awake, but they feel little or no discomfort. A sedative is given to calm the nerves, and numbing eye drops are used." "Are there complications? How long does it take to heal?" Jace pressed further. "Temporary discomfort, swelling or bruising may occur. Most patients feel normal again after 24 hours, though sensitivity to light can last a few days. Complete healing takes 4 to 6 weeks," the doctor replied. "All right then," Jace said. "We'll pay for the surgery." The next day, Amara underwent cataract surgery. Just as the doctor promised, she felt normal within 24 hours, and in 4 weeks, her eyes were fully healed. Throughout her recovery, Jace stayed by her side, ensuring she lacked nothing. He even restocked her pharmacy so she could rest. For Amara, no seer was needed. Jace was the right man for her. She was ready to say yes if he ever asked. But elsewhere, Chief Stanley had begun to notice Jace's change. He grew happier each day, leaving work early, as though a family waited for him. Suspicious, Stanley hired a private investigator. That evening, standing on his mansion's balcony with a glass of wine in hand, Stanley received a brown envelope from the investigator. "Your suspicions were right, Chief," the man said. "Jace has been spending time with a nurse named Amara and her grandmother. He fought loan sharks for her, paid for her eye surgery, and restocked her pharmacy. He spends most of his free time with them." "Amara," Stanley muttered with a grin. "Your job is done. I'll send your balance tonight." Unbeknownst to him, Bella had overheard everything. The next day, Jace arrived at work in high spirits. Stanley's secretary approached. "Your boss wants to see you immediately," she said. "Tell him I'll be there shortly," Jace replied. As he headed toward Stanley's office, Bella followed, knowing trouble awaited. In Stanley's office, Jace knocked and entered. Stanley stood by the window, hands clasped. "Good morning, boss," Jace greeted. Stanley turned, frowning. Without a word, he flung a stack of photos across the floor. "Would you like to explain what's going on between you and this woman?" Jace bent to pick one up. His heart sank as he saw himself with Amara and her grandmother. A sudden fear seized him, not for himself, but for their safety. At that moment, Bella entered. "Good morning, Father. And what are you doing here?" Stanley asked sharply. "I came to tell you everything about Jace and Amara," Bella said, meeting Jace's stunned gaze. "Bella, what are you doing?" Jace muttered under his breath. "I'm sorry, Jace," she thought. "I won't let you die for love." "So, what do you know about their relationship?" Stanley pressed. "Father, Jace only got close to Amara because you asked him to. He told me several times he intended to win her heart, just as you instructed. So why are you overreacting now?" Bella asked. "Jace, is this true?" Stanley demanded. Bella nodded at him urgently. "Yes, boss," Jace said reluctantly, fists clenched. "So what have you found out?" "Nothing out of the ordinary," Jace replied. "Good. But remember, if I discover you've lied, you won't like the consequences," Stanley warned. As they left, Jace pulled Bella into his office and shut the door. "What was that stunt back there?" he snapped. "I saved you," Bella replied coolly. "I didn't ask for your help. This is my life, Bella." "No, Jace. I won't watch you die for some blind love. I've known my father for 25 years. I know what he's capable of. If you truly care for Amara, you'll end it. For her safety and yours." She walked out, leaving Jace furious. He swept everything from his desk in rage. Outside, Bella pulled out her phone and dialed. "Hello? Can I get Amara's home address from you?" she asked Stanley's private investigator as she walked away. Bella drove to Amara's pharmacy and asked if they could talk privately in her car. Since Amara had once seen Bella at Jace's house and Jace had introduced her as his sister, she didn't hesitate to join her. In the car, Bella began, "I'm sure you already know who I am." "Yes, you're Jace's sister," Amara said with a polite smile. "Good. Tell me, has Jace ever told you what he really does for a living?" Bella asked. "Well, he once said he works in a pharmaceutical company where they manufacture and distribute drugs," Amara replied innocently. "That's not far from the truth," Bella said dryly. "But did you ever ask what kind of drugs he distributes?" "Why? Is there something I should know?" Amara asked, confusion clouding her face. "I thought as a nurse you'd be smarter, but you're just as blind as Jace," Bella snapped. "Excuse me? Why the insult? What are you trying to say?" Amara asked, visibly unsettled. "Relax. It hasn't come to shouting," Bella said calmly. Then, without warning, she asked, "Do you love Jace?" Amara's eyes widened. "What kind of question is that? Don't you love him?" Bella pressed. "All right, I do. But what's the problem?" "The problem is that you need to stay away from him. If you value your life and your grandmother's." "What? Are you serious?" Amara asked in disbelief. "Yes. If you love yourself, avoid Jace. This is the only way to protect him from dying at my father's hands," Bella revealed. "What are you even talking about? Jace isn't who you think he is. He's a drug dealer who works for my father, Chief Stanley, the drug lord. He seduces rich men's daughters and extorts their families. Your meeting with him wasn't fate. He was sent to confirm whether you recognized him as the man who shot an undercover policeman here during a delivery. When he realized you had night blindness, he felt pity and spared you. Everything he's done for you and your grandmother, paying for your surgery, stocking your pharmacy, was born out of pity. If you had recognized him, you'd have been dead long ago." Amara's heart broke. She remembered the day they met at the hospital, how he'd asked if she recognized him. Tears streamed down her face as Bella continued. "My father has already begun to question Jace's closeness to your family, and you know what happens when a drug lord takes notice. For your safety, cut all ties with him." When Amara got out of the car, Bella whispered to herself, "I'm sorry, Amara. I had to do this because I love Jace. That night, Amara wept bitterly, her pillow soaked in tears. Meanwhile, Jace also wrestled with his pain, thinking of how to protect Amara and his love for her. Early the next morning, Jace stopped by her store. "Good morning," he greeted cheerfully. Amara's response was a sharp slap across his face. "Amara?" Jace gasped, holding his cheek. "What was that for?" "Stay away from me, you murderer, thief, and liar," she cried. "What are you talking about?" Jace asked, reaching for her hand. She shoved him back. "You pretended to be good, but you're a fraud. You came into my life to see if I recognized you as the man who killed a policeman. You're a drug dealer, Jace. You endangered me and my grandmother," she shouted, trembling. "Amara, please, answer me. Is it true you came to confirm if I recognized your face that night?" Jace lowered his head. "Yes." Amara staggered back, tears blurring her sight. "So it's true? Let me explain. Just answer this. If I had recognized you, would you have killed me?" Jace's voice broke. "Yes." Her heart shattered. "So everything you did was pity?" "At first, yes, but not anymore," Jace said desperately. "It doesn't matter. Leave our lives forever. If you come near us again, I'll report you to the police." Jace stood frozen, unable to speak. Amara stormed off, only to collapse in tears once he was gone. Back at his office, Jace burst into Bella's office, sweeping everything off her desk. "Why did you tell her? Why did you ruin everything?" he roared. "I did it for you, Jace. To protect you. Because I love you," Bella shouted back. "Are you happy now? You've destroyed what I had with Amara. She means everything to me. She is my peace, my happiness. I'll never give her up," Jace cried. Bella was left stunned as he stormed out. Moments later, a call came in. "Miss Bella, Jace has just been in a car accident." "What?" Bella screamed in shock. Chief Stanley was about to leave for work when his private investigator, Ahmed, called. "Hello, Ahmed," Stanley answered. "Good morning, boss," Ahmed greeted. "Morning. I hope everything is fine?" Stanley asked, setting his suitcase on the center table before relaxing on the couch. "Yes, sir. I just called to give you a report," Ahmed said. "Go ahead. I'm listening," Stanley replied. "Last evening, Bella called me asking for Amara's home address," Ahmed revealed. Stanley sat upright. "What did she need it for?" "I don't know, Chief. But I strongly suspect something is going on between the three of them," Ahmed said. Stanley rubbed his chin. "I already knew they were hiding something. When you confirmed Amara's night blindness and Jace sponsored her surgery, it became clear she couldn't have seen his face that night. But what puzzles me is why Jace stayed close to her even after confirming she didn't recognize him. And Bella, she vouched for him when I confronted him. It proves there's more between Jace and that nurse than they admit." "Sir, by all indications, Jace has fallen in love with her," Ahmed said. "But why?" Stanley snapped. "She's just an unfortunate poor girl. What does he gain from her? He could have anyone. Rich, powerful women at his feet. Why choose her?" "Perhaps it's nothing more than youthful excitement," Ahmed suggested. "No, Ahmed. Jace has never behaved this way with any woman. And it's odd. She has changed him. Something about her makes me uneasy. I want you to do a detailed background check. Leave no stone unturned. Find out who her parents were and everything about her family. I need to know why my spirit resists this girl," Stanley said firmly. "Consider it done, Chief. I'll report back soon," Ahmed replied. "Good," Stanley said, ending the call. He was stepping out when his phone rang again. Bella's trembling voice came through. "Daddy," she sobbed. "What is it? Why are you crying?" Stanley asked, his face tightening with concern. "It's Jace," Bella cried. "He was in a car accident and has been taken to the hospital." "What?" Stanley exclaimed. "How did it happen?" "Never mind. Send me the hospital location. I'll be there immediately." At Victory Hospital, one of Amara's co-nurses, Bimbo, who wasn't on duty that morning, had come to visit her cousin. She saw Jace being rushed in and recognized him as the man often visiting Amara at work or picking her up afterward. Shocked, she quickly called Amara. At Amara's shop, she was confiding in her grandmother about the pain she felt after learning Jace's secrets. "My child, I understand," her grandmother said, "but shouldn't you have given him the chance to explain?" "What chance, Mama? He hid the truth from me for months. I'm not hurt because of his past. It's because I had to hear it from someone else. Why didn't he trust me?" Amara cried. "Maybe he was afraid of losing you. It takes courage for a man to reveal such truths. Not every woman could handle it," her grandmother said. "But he should have trusted me. That's what hurts," Amara sobbed. Her grandmother sighed. "I know a man with bad intentions when I see one. Jace truly loves you. Don't think he did everything out of pity. Perhaps you're the change he needs." Amara glanced at her. "Yes, child. her grandmother continued. He grew up without his parents. You had me guiding you, but he had Stanley, a drug lord. What do you expect of a boy raised in such a house? If anyone is to blame, it's Stanley. If you love Jace, you should have listened, not condemned. Maybe fate brought you to help him find his path again. Amara felt guilt pierce her heart. Just then, Bimbo called. Hello, Amara, Bimbo corrected. Guess who I just saw at Victory Hospital? Bimbo, I'm not in the mood for guessing. It's your friend, the handsome guy with the black car. Jace. What? What happened? Amara asked, panicking. I think he was in an accident, Bimbo replied. Which hospital? Amara asked urgently. Victory Hospital. Bimbo started, but Amara ended the call, already rushing to her grandmother. Mama, Jace is in the hospital. He had an accident, and it's because of me. Amara wept. Her grandmother hushed her, holding her close. At the hospital, Stanley arrived and found Bella seated by Jace's bed. How is he? Stanley asked, tense. He's fine, just scratches and bruises. The doctor said he'll recover with medication, Bella assured. Stanley sighed in relief and left shortly after. Moments later, Jace stirred awake. As Bella rejoiced at his consciousness, Jace wept, remembering his painful last encounter with Amara. Bella held his hand, tears in her own eyes. I'm sorry, Jace. I thought I was protecting you from father, but now I see Amara is your happiness. I'll fix what I broke, she said, and stepped out. To her shock, she saw Amara wandering anxiously. Bella approached gently. Relax. I don't bite, she said with a sad smile. Where's Jace? Amara asked urgently. In there, Bella said, pointing. But first, let me speak with you. They sat in a corner. After silence, Bella began. I'm sorry for telling you those things about Jace. It wasn't my place. He planned to tell you himself, but fear held him back. Our organization has rules. Any outsider who learns our secret must be silenced forever. Amara gasped. What kind of rule is that? That's the business we're in. But listen, Jace isn't like the rest. He loves you deeply. You changed him. He never smiled before you. He wanted to be a lawyer like his father, but Stanley forced him into this life. He's not evil, Amara. He's trapped. Amara's heart softened. Bella led her into Jace's ward, where the two embraced tearfully. Bella left quietly, content to see Jace smile again. The next day, Bella approached Stanley's office but overheard him speaking with Ahmed. What? She's whose daughter? Stanley asked in disbelief. She's Amara Adesola, daughter of the late Dr. Shigun Edwards and journalist Funka Edwards. Both died in a car accident 18 years ago, Ahmed said, handing him pictures. Stanley's face went pale. Unbelievable. How did these two end up together? What twisted game is fate playing? Ahmed, we must ensure they do not stay together, or Jace will learn everything. What will Jace find out? Ahmed asked, confused. Never mind. You can go, Chief Stanley said, waving him off. Bella, who had been eavesdropping, hurried back to her office. Stanley slumped into his chair. He dialed Osbon, the fixer he used for bloody work. Hello, boss, longest time, Osbon said from abroad. Long time, Osbon. How are you? Stanley asked, rubbing his forehead. I'm good. Weather's great here. Everything fine there? More or less, Stanley replied, staring out the window. So what do you want? There's a problem I need you to fix. What kind? Termination. Man or woman? A girl and her grandmother. I'll be back in 2 days. We'll talk when I land. Make it 1, Stanley pressed. Relax, Chief. There's never a too late for death, Osbon said. Fine. See you when you're back. Stanley ended the call. In her office, Bella paced restlessly, replaying her father's words. This won't do. I need to see Jace. She grabbed her bag and left. At Jace's house, freshly discharged from the hospital, he arrived with Amara. He handed her the keys. She opened the door. He pulled her gently toward him. You're healthier than I feared, Amara smiled. The doctor said it's just scratches, bruises, and body aches, Jace said, arms around her waist. I'm sorry, Amara said, looking into his eyes. For what? For how I spoke to you. Bella told me everything. I should have listened instead of judging. You're a good man in a filthy world, and those rules don't fit you. Like Grandma said, let's choose a new path. Let's do things right. I'm sorry I didn't tell you myself, Jace said. I feared how you'd see me. I've never been proud of this life. After my parents, the Edwards, died when I was 10, my uncles argued over who would take me. None wanted the burden. Then Stanley arrived, calling himself my father's closest friend. My uncles gave me up, took money for it. He insisted I keep my last name. At his house I met Bella, a quiet 7-year-old who shared her toys and stood by me. She's been family ever since. Bella loves you. It's a strong bond even without blood, Amara said. She thinks I hate her now, but I can't. She's carried my pain with me, Jace replied. Enough about Bella and her father, Amara said softly. What about us? Amara, I love you, Jace said. She flushed. I love you too. Will you be my girlfriend? Always, she answered. He kissed her. She kissed back until the doorbell rang. Jace opened it. Bella stood there. Come in, he said. Hi, Amara. Thank you for taking care of Jace, Bella said. Why didn't you come again at the hospital? Do you hate me that much? Jace asked. I couldn't face you after what I did, Bella said. It's past, Jace replied, hugging her. This is sweet. Amara smiled. Jace, Amara, there's something you should know, Bella said, pulling back. I overheard my father. He said he must ensure you two never end up together. Why? Jace asked, exchanging a look with Amara. They all sat in the living room as Bella continued. He freaked out when he learned who Amara's parents were, and that they also died in a car accident 18 years ago. It feels like both sets of parents were murdered. I wouldn't be surprised, Amara said. My mother crossed corrupt politicians often. But how did they die the same day as Jace's parents? Bella asked. We need to see if our parents knew each other or if their deaths are linked, Jace said. How? Amara asked. We go to your house, check photos of your late parents. Maybe I'll recognize someone. We can also research the last politician your mother wrote about. At Amara's home, they sat in the living room while she brought a photo album. Jace flipped through and paused at a picture of a gap-toothed little girl. This girl, he said. That's me, at 7. Amara laughed. I think I saw you back then before my parents died. Jace said. Wait. Amara asked, stunned. Are you Jace, son of Dr. and Mrs. Edwards? Yes, he nodded. Oh my God. You were the annoying boy who made me cry over my missing teeth, she said, half laughing. Bella turned the page to a photo of 2 couples and 2 children in the middle. Who are these? On the right. My parents, Amara said. On the left. Jace's parents. The kids in the middle are me and Jace. Then this confirms one thing, Bella said. Jace exhaled. Our parents knew each other, so their deaths might be connected. But why did Chief Stanley freak out when he found out who my late parents were? Amara asked. Is it not obvious? Either he has a hand in their deaths or he knows who does, Bella said. But why are you opposing your father? This is strange. I still don't believe you're actually taking our side instead of his, Amara said, staring at her in disbelief. With a deep sigh, Bella paced the floor. That's because I know the evil he's capable of. That man made my mother lose her sanity before finally strangling her to death. What? Amara and Jace chorused in astonishment. How come you've never mentioned this to anyone? Jace asked, stunned. Tears welled in Bella's eyes. Because I was scared, Jace. I saw him strangle her with my own eyes when I was 7. My mother never supported his shady deals. That night she threatened to report him after catching him with a gun and blood-soaked cloth. He dragged her into the living room and strangled her. I peeked through the door. Afterwards, politicians he worked with covered it up as suicide. The trauma silenced me. Days went by where I couldn't talk, eat, or find joy. Then he brought you home, Jace, and thanks to you, I crawled out of my shell. Jace and Amara stared at her stunned. Amara hugged Bella gently. Now I know why you were so quiet when we were kids, Jace said, and it proves Stanley knows about both our parents' deaths. So what do we do now? Amara asked. We can't confront him without proof. For now, we focus on changing the rules. If we can't win the game, we change the rules, Jace said firmly. Speaking of rules, Bella added, wiping her tears, don't you think we need to send Amara and her grandmother somewhere safe? That's true, Jace said. But first we need to find out who killed our parents. How do we do that? Amara asked. Start by reaching out to your mother's old colleagues, Jace replied. The photo album might help, Amara said. But it's been 18 years, Bella objected. Which is why we need Ahmed, Bella said finally. Your father's investigator? Jace frowned. Yes, otherwise we'll keep running in circles. But how do we trust him? Jace asked. Every man has a weakness. Ahmed is no exception, Bella said. Didn't you notice anything before your parents died? Bella asked Jace. My father argued about a case then. He said he didn't care if the offender was a politician. Justice must be served, Jace recalled. Then maybe a politician was involved, Bella said. But who? Wait, Jace muttered. If our parents' deaths are linked, we need to find which politician your mother exposed before her death. That's tough, Bella said. Why not check her blog posts? Amara suggested. They searched. The last post Amara's mother made targeted then-governor candidate Lawrence. Lawrence? Jace asked. Does the name sound familiar? Bella asked. No, but let's see his picture, Jace said. Bella searched and showed them. I've seen him before, Bella said. His face is familiar. Then Ahmed must dig deeper, Jace said. That night, Bella summoned Ahmed to her car. She handed him an envelope with the photos of the late Edwards and Amara's parents. Ahmed recognized them immediately and gave her a sharp look. "Don't think of telling my father," Bella warned. She played a video of his wife and children held hostage. "What's this?" Ahmed demanded. "Your weakness. You have 3 days to get me the truth about their deaths," Bella said coldly. Later, at Chief Stanley's mansion, Bella arrived to see 3 exotic cars and soldiers at the gate. Inside, Stanley sat with a high-profile man whose face looked familiar. "This is my daughter," Stanley said. "Wow, she's grown," the man said warmly. Bella's heart pounded as she finally placed the face. The man introduced himself. Lawrence, the ex-governor. Her heart raced as she asked, "Daddy, how long have you known each other?" "For 18 years," Stanley replied with a smile. Bella froze, her heart pounding with disbelief as the truth began to unfold. "Hello, hello," Chief Stanley called, waving at Bella, who was completely lost in thought. "If my father is an acquaintance of ex-Governor Lawrence, does that mean he was the politician my father worked for 18 years ago?" she wondered. A sudden tap on her hand brought her back to reality. "Huh?" Bella asked, confused as she looked from her father to Lawrence. "What's the matter with you? And why were you staring at me like that?" Stanley asked, suspicion in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Daddy. I just got carried away by some random thoughts," Bella said quickly. "That's okay. You may leave us now," Stanley replied, waving her off. "Thanks, Daddy," Bella said, bowing slightly before leaving. The next day, exactly at noon, Osbon flew into the country. He booked a hotel room, then drove straight to Stanley's mansion, as arranged. Stanley had requested he come quietly to avoid Bella and Jace discovering anything. When Osbon arrived, Stanley handed him pictures of Amara and her grandmother, along with their home and store address. "You know what to do," Stanley said. "Yes, Chief. Consider it done," Osbon replied with a confident smile. At Amara's house, Osbon went first to her pharmacy but found no one, so he decided to check the house. The gate was ajar, so he walked in quietly. "Hello," he called as he entered the compound, eyes scanning the place. Silence. Slowly, he approached the doorstep, reaching for his gun. Suddenly, he heard the gate close. He turned sharply to see a young man in dark sunglasses walking toward him. "And who are you?" Osbon demanded. The man removed his sunglasses and stepped closer. "I've heard about you for a long time. Thought I should see you myself, but you don't look like what they described." "Who are you?" Osbon asked again, suspicious. "I'm Jace. Nice to meet you," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Osbon," he replied, shaking it cautiously. "Why don't we sit?" Jace suggested, pointing to a wooden bench nearby. Reluctantly, Osbon sat. Jace joined him. "I know why you're here and who sent you," Jace began. Osbon gave him a sharp look. "Yes, and you should know this is a trap to eliminate you," Jace lied smoothly. "What do you mean?" Osbon asked. "Stanley met with Lawrence last night. They agreed to discard you after this mission. Lawrence thinks you know too much. Why do you think they asked you to kill an innocent girl and her grandmother? It's a setup. They had me install secret cameras here to record you pulling the trigger." "What?" Osbon shot up angrily. "If you doubt me, go inside. You'll see the cameras," Jace said. Osbon rushed into the living room. Jace followed, showing him hidden devices he had planted earlier. "So I saved you from prison," Jace said calmly. "But why help me?" Osbon asked. "Because I know what it's like to be used and discarded. Work with me, and we'll give them a taste of their own medicine," Jace said with a sly smile. Flashback to last night. As Bella walked away from the sitting room, she overheard Lawrence asking Stanley, "Have you heard from Osbon?" "Yes, he'll be flying in tomorrow," Stanley said. "Good. I can use him for my son's campaign," Lawrence replied. Bella's heart raced. She tiptoed to her room and immediately called Jace. "Jace, I just saw Lawrence with my father," she said. "The ex-governor?" Jace asked. "Yes, the same politician from 18 years ago," Bella confirmed. "This proves they were both involved in our parents' deaths," Jace said bitterly. "And worse, I heard my father summon Osbon. I fear Amara and her grandmother may be targets," Bella warned. "Then I'll plant distrust between them," Jace said firmly. Present day, Jace convinced Osbon to report back that Amara and her grandmother were dead, buying them safety while he plotted against Stanley and Lawrence. 2 days later, Ahmed handed Bella an envelope in her car. "Are you sure you want to see this?" he asked. "Why not?" Bella replied. "Because once you read it, you'll never look at your father the same way. And don't let Jace see it. This will break him." "Tell me one thing. Were both families killed by one man?" Bella asked. Ahmed sighed. "As painful as it sounds, both deaths were ordered by one man. Your father, Chief Stanley." "What?" Bella screamed, her heart sinking in disbelief. 18 years ago, during a heated election season, Lawrence Lowen wrote a wave of praise as his campaign surged. His triumph was marred by a private crime. Gerald Lowen, his 25-year-old son who lived recklessly, drugged and assaulted a 15-year-old granddaughter of their domestic worker. The girl had returned from school and waited outside the compound for her grandmother, who had gone to market. Gerald, stumbling home drunk, saw her and, despite her modest uniform, desired her. He coaxed her inside, insisting she sit on the sofa. When she declined a drink, he persisted until she accepted. Unbeknownst to her, the juice was drugged. She became dizzy and helpless. He violated her and warned her never to speak. When the grandmother returned and discovered the girl's condition, she waited until Lawrence came home. Instead of punishing his son, Lawrence urged them to forget it and offered money. He refused to make Gerald apologize and dismissed the woman from service. The grandmother sought justice and found Naomi, a fearless journalist who championed the poor. Naomi documented the girl's account and, with Dr. Lawrence's tests, gathered evidence. She published the story and stirred public outrage, threatening Lawrence's campaign. Many lawyers declined the case because of Lawrence's influence. Naomi refused to relent. At last, Dr. Edwards and his wife Edwards, a lawyer devoted to the poor, agreed to represent the family. Public pressure mounted. Lawrence, desperate to protect his election, ordered Stanley, his trusted enforcer, to silence the girl and her grandmother. Stanley staged their deaths as suicide, coercing a note that claimed they had lied for money. The community, deceived, turned on Naomi. Grief and anger galvanized Naomi and Edwards to press on. Fearing exposure, Lawrence directed Stanley to eliminate Naomi and Edwards in ways that would appear accidental. Stanley rented a truck and arranged 2 deadly accidents on a highway that wiped out both families on the same day. Later, when Stanley's wife threatened to reveal his crimes, he strangled her and staged her death as suicide. His 7-year-old daughter, Bella, witnessed the murder through a crack in the door. In the wreckage, a survivor named Jace was found. Stanley, anxious that Lawrence might notice an incomplete task, adopted Jace and raised him in his home, keeping the truth hidden. Present day, Jace studied the investigation reports and realized with horror that he had been living under the roof of his parents' killer for 18 years. Amara, who read the files beside him, struggled to contain her shock. The reports named Gerald Lawan, now the son of a man again seeking high office, as central to the crimes that destroyed both families. Anger flared inside Jace. "Who is Lawrence Lawan's son running for governor?" he demanded. Amara answered, "Gerald Lawan." Jace's jaw tightened. "They let me live," he said, voice low and resolute. "Now they will face the consequences of what they did." He had once vowed not to spill blood, but the years of loss had hardened him. Amara offered her support. Bella, older now and with a mischievous smile, leaned in and said she would join the plan. Together they exchanged looks of grim determination. "It is time to turn the tables," Jace said. United by grief and a hunger for justice, they prepared to confront those who had stolen their lives. They met late into the night, planning, sharing fragments of memory and proof. Details of the past hardened their resolve. No longer children, they would use the law, the crowd, and careful subterfuge to make Lawrence and Gerald answer for what they had done. Now, the storm of secrets has finally broken. Jace has discovered that the man who raised him is the very hand that destroyed both his family and Amara's. Chief Stanley and ex-Governor Lawrence thought their crimes were buried 18 years ago, but fate has brought the children of their victims together. Now, with Bella shifting sides, Amara standing firm, and Jace torn between love and vengeance, the stage is set for a reckoning no one can escape. But will Jace seek justice, or will he spill blood to heal his scars? Will Bella's dangerous gamble against her own father hold, or will Stanley strike first? The answers lie in the final part. Don't miss it. Like this video, subscribe to Loreroom, share it with friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Jace expose the truth to the world or let vengeance consume him?